Okay, so this is gonna be the weirdest video I've ever made because this is about a show I've been obsessing for months now that I doubt anybody thinks I would enjoy. Survivor. For those who don't know, Survivor is a reality competition series on CBS that has ran for 41 seasons since 2000. The whole premise of the show is that up to 16 to 20 people come onto an island and get separated into teams. Each 3 days they have to compete in a challenge, and the team who loses has to vote someone out of their team, which causes them to lose. One by one, people get voted out until there is one left who will win $1 million. Well, anyways, this person named Nicki tries to prove that the show is fake. This was back when Season 34 Game Changers was finished, and Season 35 Heroes vs. Healers vs. Hustlers was new. So we're only going to be using Seasons 1 to 34 as evidence. Now with all of that caught up, let's begin this.
Survivor is the original reality competition show, the one that started a movement that would change the television landscape forever. The series, which strands contestants in the wild while they compete for a $1 million prize, puts its players through starvation, terrible climates, sleepless nights, and more, making it one of the most difficult reality shows around. However, there are elements of Survivor that aren't as real as they seem on TV, such as costumed cast. It's allegedly written into the contestants' contracts that the show can decide what they wear. For example, winner John Cochran's sweater vest from his first appearance on Survivor has become iconic, but the self-admitted nerd says he never actually wore sweater vests before being cast, and the producers talked him into it by noting that Justin Timberlake wears them.
I mean, that doesn't prove that the show is fake, more so that the clothing is kinda chosen by the producers of the show based on who the contestant is and their personality. I mean, I guess it's kinda sketchy as to why they would do that. Hell, I think it's pretty unnecessary. But that doesn't prove that it's fake, just the regular thing about the show.
Anyone who's watched Survivor has seen the shots of contestants walking up to a challenge or tribal council with walking sticks and packs. According to longtime reality TV journalist and critic Andy Denhart, contestants don't actually trek on foot from place to place. Instead, they are transported in vehicles off camera and then kept in a waiting area until it's time to go out and film.
Yeah, because sometimes it's pretty much across the island or just very far away and would probably take an hour or two to get to a challenge. Going in a car is much more easier because it's faster, and obviously the person driving it would know where the challenge is because they're a producer. Like, what, would they just leave the contestants with a map and expect them to know where it is? No. This does not prove it's fake.
The competitors are reportedly not allowed to speak to each other during this time. This means they're often forced to simmer and have to wait to confront each other instead of working out their issues off camera.
Yes, because working out your problems off camera on a reality show, and the big part about Survivor and just any reality show ever is the drama in relationships. So if something happens off camera, the audience will be confused as to why certain players are nice to each other all of a sudden if they had to beef, or if they're now mean to each other now.
Prep time aplenty. Before each televised challenge, host Jeff Probst gives a brief explanation of the event, and then contestants appear to dive right into the competition. However, there's actually much more that competitors have to do before they begin the challenge. After the film TV instructions, Probst and the crew reportedly walk each tribe through the event in detail to show them exactly how it will go down, allowing the tribes time to ask questions and strategize during that time, something you don't see in the final edit.
Funny thing you say that they dive right into the challenge when after Jeff Probst, the host of Survivor, explains the challenge, he gives players a minute to strategize, and he says it on camera and cuts to a transition.
Game. Par, you have 2 extra people. Who are you going to sit out? Cannot sit out the same people in back-to-back challenges.
I'll sit out.
Morgan and Tasha are going to sit this one out, take a spot on the sit-out bench. Everybody else give a minute to strategize. We'll get started. Should make for a very nice afternoon, especially knowing you won't have to go to tribal council. Yes. Give you a minute to strategize. We'll get started. Our jury will draw for spots. We'll get to it. Let's draw for spots. We'll get started. All right.
Do you know what a transition is? Do you know how anything works at all?
Condensed Council. In the televised episodes, the typical tribal council appears to last around 10 minutes, but in reality, they usually last for at least an hour and include a long list of questions from probes on a wide variety of topics, according to former contestants and a former cameraman in Reddit AMAs. Apparently, much of the tribal council ends up being boring and irrelevant, so all that dull footage gets tossed before the episode airs.
Yes, because removing footage of a question asked from tribal council because of how irrelevant to the events in the episode is proof that the show is fake. Dude, do you not know that episodes of Survivor typically last around 45 minutes and maybe more than 2 parts? Removing certain footage from a council is necessary because those questions get asked as a way to recap what happened and the problems revolving around a tribe. Bruh.
Contestant coaching. Yes, Survivor contestants do have to hunt, fish, and find their own food in the wild. But according to a former cameraman, contestants are given a book upon their arrival on the island with helpful information such as what plants can be eaten, what the native animal and fish species are, and tips for good hygiene. However, most contestants reportedly never even open that book, so when they're unable to find food, that may very well be their own fault.
Well, that doesn't really make Survivor fake then. That's just a way to help contestants understand what they can do to survive. Like, of course they can't just ask a cameraman while at camp what food you're able to eat and what food you aren't able to eat in the wild. That would be weird for a reality show.
Camera crew clues. The camera crews know when to follow contestants for a secret meeting or when competitors are headed in the direction of an immunity idol. This can have an effect on the game, according to that same ex-cameraman who puts it this way. The smart ones will get away one at a time and rendezvous. Rarely do we miss those events. It is up to them to be stealthy. The more savvy ones will tip us off that they are having a meeting and ensure they have a smooth...
Well, congrats, I guess. Your own evidence debunks your own point. See, the cameraman is saying that they try to be stealthy so they don't get caught having a discussion, and some just tell the cameraman that XYZ are having a meeting and make sure they have a good cover. This is just a basic thing people do on Survivor. It doesn't make it fake.
Cover. Practice makes perfect. The speeches jurors give at the final tribal council range from boring and predictable to explosive and shocking, depending on how bitter the juror is feeling about his or her exile. According to former contestant Corinne Kaplan, juror speeches are written in advance and rehearsed for producers before they're delivered. She says the producers freaked out after hearing her speech, and probes said, "Please don't change a single word of that." Kaplan says she didn't because she had it precisely memorized.
Yeah, because making sure that your jury speech is okay and not problematic at all. It's almost as if letting the jury say whatever they want can be dumb and not just that extremely dangerous because you can either say something that'll get the show cancelled or might cause controversy. Bite me. Video was stupid and I hated it. Thank you for watching and see you in the next 2 months.